In today's hyper-connected world, the most dangerous criminals don't always carry weapons. They carry smartphones. With a few keystrokes, cybercriminals can rob banks, impersonate world leaders, or terrorize families without ever leaving their bedrooms. From stolen identities to massive digital fraud, cybercrime is now one of the fastest-growing threats facing the globe. One name that's become synonymous with this new era of crime is Joseph James O'Connor, better known online as PlugwalkJoe. A British citizen, O'Connor gained notoriety not through stealth, but by pulling off some of the boldest hacks of the digital age. His attacks were headline-grabbing, his targets high-profile, and his tactics increasingly malicious. Whether he was emptying crypto wallets, hijacking celebrity Twitter accounts, or stalking innocent victims, O'Connor acted with a sense of arrogance and impunity. But despite operating in the shadows of the internet, he couldn't run forever. His eventual capture, extradition, and sentencing marked a significant victory for global cybercrime enforcement. Let us get into today's story. Joseph O'Connor's cybercrime spree began with a high-stakes digital heist. Between March and May 2019, he and his co-conspirators targeted executives at a Manhattan-based cryptocurrency company using a technique called SIM swapping. This form of attack involves tricking a mobile provider into transferring a victim's phone number to a SIM card controlled by the hacker. Once successful, it gives attackers access to two-factor authentication, codes, and secure online accounts. On April 30, 2019, O'Connor's crew used this method to infiltrate the personal and financial accounts of their targets. By the next day, May 1st, they had stolen approximately $794,000 in cryptocurrency. The stolen funds were quickly laundered through a web of digital wallets to obscure their trail. This wasn't just a clever cyber trick, it was a direct hit on one of the world's most volatile financial sectors. Cryptocurrency, prized for its anonymity, became the perfect target and tool for cybercriminals like O'Connor. What's particularly alarming is how easily these breaches were pulled off. By exploiting human error at telecom companies and basic security oversights, O'Connor and his associates bypassed even the most tech-savvy defenses. This operation didn't just fill their wallets, it signaled the start of a much larger, more dangerous criminal campaign, and it showed the world just how vulnerable our digital lives can be. The summer of 2019 marked a shift in O'Connor's criminal activity, from targeting corporations to harassing individuals. In June, he used SIM swapping again to hijack the Snapchat account of a well-known public figure, identified in legal filings as Victim 2. Once inside the account, O'Connor gained access to private and potentially compromising photos and videos. Then came the threat: release the content or meet his demands. It was digital extortion, and it struck at the heart of personal privacy. This attack was different from the earlier crypto theft. Here, the goal wasn't just financial, it was psychological. O'Connor wasn't just stealing information, he was using it to control, intimidate, and manipulate. And in doing so, he showed a willingness to publicly humiliate his targets for personal gain. For the victim, the attack was invasive and terrifying. For O'Connor, it was just another move in an escalating series of crimes. His behavior wasn't just bold, it was brazen, with little regard for the emotional and reputational damage left in his wake. This incident foreshadowed the cruelty and recklessness that would define his later crimes. From this point forward, O'Connor's targets would include not only tech companies and celebrities, but also vulnerable individuals whose lives he would turn upside down. By July 2020, Joseph O'Connor's cyber exploits reached their peak with the now infamous Twitter hack. Over the course of 2 days, July the 16th and 17th, O'Connor and his accomplices infiltrated Twitter's internal tools, gaining God-level access to the platform. Using these tools, they took control of some of the most followed and trusted accounts in the world, including Elon Musk, Barack Obama, Bill Gates, Kanye West, and companies like Apple and Uber. From these hijacked accounts, they tweeted out a simple yet highly effective scam: send Bitcoin to a wallet, and it'll be doubled and returned. The public response was swift and costly. Within hours, the attackers had collected over $120,000 in cryptocurrency. But the real damage wasn't financial. It was reputational. The incident shattered public trust in Twitter's security and raised alarms across industries about the fragility of online platforms. For O'Connor, it was more than just a heist. It was a spectacle. It wasn't just about the money. It was about making noise, flexing power, and showing the world what he could do. Law enforcement took immediate notice. This was no longer a digital prank. It was a national security issue. The breach had global implications. And from that moment on, PlugwalkJoe wasn't just an internet handle. He was a fugitive with a global spotlight on him. As the digital chaos of the Twitter hack faded, O'Connor's criminal activity took an even darker turn. Between June and July 2020, he targeted a teenage victim, referred to in court as eVictim 3, and subjected them to a terrifying campaign of harassment and intimidation. O'Connor carried out multiple swatting incidents, falsely reporting violent emergencies to police, to provoke armed responses to the miner's home. Swatting isn't just a prank. It's extremely dangerous. Armed law enforcement showing up under false pretenses can result in injury or worse. But O'Connor didn't stop there. He stalked the victim online, sent threatening messages, and even extended his harassment to the victim's family. These were not random acts. They were deliberate, sustained, and traumatizing. This phase of O'Connor's behavior revealed a disturbing escalation. It wasn't about fame, money, or clout. It was about fear. It was about control. And it was proof that O'Connor was not just a cyber thief. He was a real-world threat. For law enforcement, this confirmed what many already suspected. O'Connor's actions were unpredictable and dangerous. His crimes had evolved from virtual thefts to acts that endangered lives. These incidents made it clear. His arrest wasn't just necessary for justice. It was essential for public safety. In August 2020, as investigators closed in, O'Connor returned to familiar ground, hijacking social media for his own gain. This time, he set his sights on a popular TikTok influencer with a large following, once again using SIM swapping to seize control of the account. But this attack wasn't just a publicity stunt. It was part of a broader intimidation tactic. After taking over the account, O'Connor posted videos promoting his personal Discord server. He then threatened to release private and sensitive content unless users joined the server. It was classic manipulation. Use shock value to build an audience and enforce digital dominance. TikTok, a platform heavily populated by young users, became the latest stage for O'Connor's growing digital theater. He wasn't just hacking. He was performing, positioning himself as a chaotic figure at the center of attention, no matter the harm it caused. While the attack didn't generate major headlines, like the Twitter breach, it showed how O'Connor consistently leveraged fear and exposure as tools. Whether his targets were CEOs or teens, no one was beyond his reach. But by this point, authorities across multiple countries were coordinating. O'Connor's luck and his time online was running out. By mid-2021, the net was closing. O'Connor had been detained in Spain, awaiting extradition to the United States. Meanwhile, his co-conspirator Graham Ivan Clark, the alleged ringleader of the Twitter hack, had already been sentenced to 3 years in prison under Florida's Youthful Offender Act. On April 26, 2023, O'Connor's extradition was finalized. U.S. authorities brought him stateside to face charges from both the Southern District of New York, SDNY, and the Northern District of California, NDCA, 2 jurisdictions deeply involved in prosecuting cybercrime. Just 2 weeks later, on May 9, 2023, O'Connor pleaded guilty to a sweeping list of charges, including computer intrusion conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, stalking, and extortion. Then, On June 23, 2023, he faced his sentence, 5 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. He was also ordered to forfeit $794,012.64, matching the stolen crypto from his early SIM swap attack. It was a dramatic fall for a man who once held the internet in the palm of his hand. From elite hackers to law enforcement agencies, the message was clear. Even in the boundless world of cyberspace, there are limits, and there are consequences. For O'Connor, the digital world he once ruled is now off limits. Joseph James O'Connor's descent from celebrated hacker to convicted felon is a wake-up call for the digital age. His story is more than a tale of crime. It's a reflection of how deeply technology touches our lives, and how vulnerable we can be when it's turned against us. O'Connor didn't just steal money or accounts. He invaded privacy, threatened lives, and disrupted global platforms. His actions were reckless, harmful, and wide-reaching. But in the end, the system worked. International cooperation, dedicated investigators, and strong cybersecurity laws brought him to justice. His 5-year sentence is a milestone, but it's also a message. No matter how anonymous you think you are online, accountability is inevitable. As digital spaces expand, so too does the reach of justice. For all of us navigating this tech-driven world, O'Connor's case is a reminder to stay vigilant. Protect your data, use strong security practices, and be cautious of social engineering tactics like SIM swapping. Thank you for watching the rise and fall of PlugwalkJoe. If this story made you think, surprised you, or taught you something new, leave a comment below and share your thoughts. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay safe online, and we'll see you in the next one.